Hey, Hog Tie.
Howdy.
We're on the air. Just waiting for some other people, folks. Welcome to the Shannon Q and G-Man after show rather.
That was a powerful introduction.
Oh yeah, this is my first time running the hangout in this channel. So, and my first time running a hangout actually. So
it's going gangbusters so far. Get my headphone.
Oh yeah, I wish other people would come in. Although Steve said he was going to join. The hangout link. The hangout link is in the hangout invite list in. Hold on a sec. I'm listing. I keep hearing myself. I need to meet my actual
It's tricky, isn't it? It's tricky. I mean, JD Kane, years still can't get it right.
No, I mean, I've done it like a couple times, but like on my own channel, and those were just 10. So yeah. The invite for the hangout is in the hangout invite list in Google Hangouts, and anybody else who wants to be specifically invited in, I will go ahead and try to invite you, and we'll find a way to get you the link. So this is in regards to the hangout that Steve just had, or the between Shannon Q from Apologia's channel and G-Man, which actually went surprisingly well.
Yeah, there's some good moments and some familiar moments, I guess we'll say.
Well, yeah, G-Man kind of stuck to his usual guns, but Shannon Q was remarkably good at keeping him from going full G-Man, which we are all familiar with what full G-Man is. So it was a more productive talk than he's usually good at. Welcome, Matt. And you know who Matt is? I think I've talked to Matt before.
It looks familiar. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that sets off G-Man that I think we really don't need to be doing. I know he doesn't like being called an idiot, and I mean, who does?
No.
There's really not much point in it. I find that the problem is okay. So I think she was very nice to him. Treated him very respectfully, and was able to tell him in places where she didn't agree, but she didn't really, necessarily challenge him on some of the particularly goofy things he was saying. And that's the problem. So on the one hand, I agree with you, man, when he says, that people call him an idiot. There's no call for that. Okay. The problem is that he also reacts when you kind of best him on a point, when you simply show that he's mistaken about something. And he doesn't draw that distinction. He doesn't distinguish between when somebody's just rude to him versus when they cut to one of his core beliefs.
Yeah, but sometimes he makes himself out to be an idiot. That's not.
I know, but I like the way this one looks. Yeah, I think that's a Jacob.
I'm not sure. Are we in an actual conversation here, Matt? It sounded like you had a profound point to say. Volume is awfully low, and it sounds like you're distant from the mic.
I turned you up. Hold on, that's too loud now.
Sometimes G-Man can put his foot in his mouth. I don't believe that he means to, but at the same time, he believes that no matter what, his faith is going to come out on top, and some of the things that he says contradicts himself.
Agreed. Like when she got to how the light speed thing at that point, he's just like, well, God magicked it into existence, and that's like a go-to point. It's like God can do it because he's supernatural. And
I'm pretty sure at one point he said God was an alien, if I'm not mistaken.
sort of. You know what? Just for people who are sort of tuning in now, may or may not have seen the hangout that G-Man was in a discussion with. Who was it? Help me out. Bionic Dance. It was Bionic Dance.
Bionic Dance.
Yes. Let me say of that discussion, for God's sake, people, for the sake of Great Lord Xenu, do not have G-Man in any call-in show that is Skype-based, because you can't control his volumes, right? And there are moments like at the beginning where he will talk like a normal person and his volume can be the same as everybody else's, but later on in the broadcast, as he ramps up, you're going to need to, you know, what we call balance the volumes, right? Because if you hear that one, it was on the a Geek Room. It was on Geek Room, and one of the moderators, the guy's sort of in charge of the thing, you could barely hear him. And if you turned up your earphones enough so you could hear what he was saying, the G-Man would just blast your skull off.
Yeah.
Matt, getting a lot of echo from your end too. So if you can, you're not talking, just super appreciate that. But I want to mention the alien thing. But go ahead, Matt. I'll get back to my point about the aliens.
I'm surprised G-Man actually is not in the in this right now.
Damn.
Well, he probably doesn't know what's going on. What he does after a discussion like that is he kind of rubs one out, at least intellectually. I did that's an excellent thing, you know. Once we're getting Steve McCrae to shut up, that was a good choice. And then boy, that Shannon, I just had her head spinning, you know. She'll come to Christ within 6 months, I'm pretty sure. So he'll be, this is the conversation he's having with himself. People are doing this for a while, and then at some point someone will message him that this conversation is going on, and then he'll start watching it. Then he'll wait for something to anger him, then he'll come in angry. But he won't join. He won't join and have a normal conversation with us. He'll wait until someone tells him, and then he'll get all pissed off and come in angry.
I kind of want to have a conversation with him because he actually insulted me. And I've been trying to be, very civil about it. I've contacted him on Hangouts, and he's never replied. He's been ducking me for like the last month and a half. So, G-Man, if you are watching, I'd love to have a conversation with you.
Well, he selects people. It's interesting, his selection of who to have conversations with. G-Man, it's a very simple rule of thumb. And I do want to get back to the God is an alien thing because that's so funny to me, and I'm sure to a lot of other people. But G-Man, like if you're looking to have a conversation with G-Man, here's the simple rule: G-Man wants exposure, right? So the more people that will be drawn into watching his conversation with you, the more horny he is to have a conversation with you. Matt, if you have a channel with 7 subscribers or you're on G+ with 2 followers, he doesn't care. He might, if you approach him often enough and give him some ideas and let him know you're interested in having a conversation, he might find time to pick you off the back burner. But that's not his thing. His thing is about exposure. He'll talk to Bionic Dance anytime. He'll talk to Aaron Raw anytime, even though he says that he won't. He'll talk to Matt Dillahunty anytime, even though he says he won't. So the people he wants to talk with are those where he'll get some good exposure, but those who, in his estimation, won't best him. So, for example, I mean, he's been running for me for a long time. He will not, because anytime we have a conversation, there's always some straight up factual thing. Like for example, he mentioned it again today too about, oh, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that atheism is a religion. It was more than 3 years ago. Well, it was 2014. I remember because it was the May long weekend here. It was May 24th, May 26th of 2014 that I challenged him. I said, okay, show me evidence of that. And he couldn't do it. He's been running, he's been running from that for, I guess we're coming up on 4 years now. So he won't have, he'll block people who can best him on the factual mistakes in his beliefs. But he'll sit there and do what he did tonight with Shannon, right? He'll sit there and give his, oh, well, you're wrong about this because the Satanic Bible says blah blah blah. Satanic Bible, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, you see, what happened was, I don't know whose channel this is actually on, but I was go ahead.
Just a point of order. This is the Great Debate Community's second channel. There's a lot of people who can manage it. So you'll see a lot of people actually managing it. So
actually, can we just, why don't you do a little introduction then? Because people know this is the Great Debate, but who's hosting today? Who are you? And tell us what you do, and then, because now we actually have an audience showing up. So why don't you sort of reintroduce yourself and.
Yeah. My name is David, also known as Booleaninator on when I'm on YouTube. That's my channel. Eventually, I'm going to have a show regarding debunking pseudoscience, and that's kind of the whole point of it. And at that point, I'm going to go forward and let other people introduce themselves. So go ahead, the rest of you.
Well, G-Man just did join and then he left. I don't know what's going on with that. Hi, my name is Matthew Bright, aka MCTV. I am I'm kind of still a newbie to the Great Debate community. I study sound production, and recently I've been diving deep into the social justice warrior mind. And I used to be a Christian, but I have fell now more back into the agnostic point of view because of certain things in religion.
Right.
So yeah, that's me. Go ahead with anybody else.
First, then me.
I'm Brian Stevens. I am a mathematics teacher in statistics. I have an undergraduate in psychology, and I do some PhD work. It's a long time coming getting my PhD, so nowhere near a doctorate. But I see G-Man just joined, so if he'd like to introduce himself. And I think it was a great conversation tonight, G-Man. Much appreciated. I am an atheist / agnostic, whatever you'd like to call me, but I think tonight's conversation was a good one.
I'm glad to hear that. Nice meeting you, by the way, Brian.
Good meeting too.
All right.
Brian,
So,
I do applaud you for getting your PhD.
Oh, no, I do not have it. I do not have it. I am 6 hours into completing and nowhere near a thesis.
Oh, it's all about the journey and not the destination. Snicker, snicker, snicker.
I'm closer to 40, so yeah, I'm getting old. But, well, G-Man, what did you think of the debate tonight? What did you think of your conversation?
well, I didn't look at it as a debate. I looked at it as just getting to know her. From what I understand, she wanted to meet me. She wanted to make her own opinion about me. We talked, and I think it went well. I think she's a really nice person.
I noticed at the end you wanted to speak to Apologia. I believe he has an avatar icon of a slightly grayish-haired man. I did not know that was his girlfriend partner, but you were very interested in talking to him.
I think, G-Man, you might have even been in Hangouts with Paul on a couple of occasions. I'm not sure, though. I guess you have to check Paul's memory on that. But you'll recognize him if you've watched a lot of Steve's Hangouts. He's in quite a bit. He does a lot of kind of produced videos, you know, as opposed to the sort of sit and vlogging style. He does a lot of produced videos. Lately, a lot of the stuff he's doing is about Ken Ham and the whole Answers in Genesis crew. And Shannon kind of helps with some of those videos, but he's very clearly, like as she put it, like 99% Paul, right? He's sort of the front man for the two of them. I didn't realize until literally the last few minutes of your discussion that I had spoken with her once before, along with Paul in an off-air hangout. We were talking about doing a hangout on sovereign citizens. It's an incredibly interesting phenomenon, but yeah, you should check out some stuff on Paul's channel.
Hogtie, you kind of broke the AA cycle. You didn't say your name and what you do.
Oh, I didn't. Well, I don't really talk much about what I do, but no, I mean, let's put it this way. I do Google Hangouts once in a while. I'm sort of on again, off again with some of these conversations. You know, I'm on the sort of skeptics or pro-science side in a lot of the discussions, and you know, I'll come and do a few Hangouts in a couple of months, and then I'll just disappear for a few months. And but I enjoy the conversation. It's fun. It's spirited and interesting.
If you don't mind, I'd like to correct what I said about my views on Christianity. I am agnostic, but at the same time, I have very extensive and knowledge on both the atheist and the Christian views. Mostly because when I was growing up, I was in a very like home, and moving out, I became very good friends with an agnostic person, and his wife happens to be atheist. So I can learn. I've learned all 3 points of views, and I fall in between I fall in the agnostic point of view. And I'm sorry if you hear talking in the background. That's just my roommates playing video games.
And for what it's worth, G-Man, I'll tell you, I enjoyed that hangout. I think it didn't quite go 2 hours, and I think I heard the better part of the last hour of it. So I don't know how it started. I've been saying we need more of where people can sit down, and yeah, they have different points of view. Like I think that Shannon didn't necessarily play it close to the vest when she didn't agree with you about something, and of course you never do. So that, you know, so it was. I thought it was just a good conversation. It seemed to me that there was no. It was just let's just talk about these things, and you know, I thought it went really well. But
Yeah, I didn't come in here to debate her. I came here to talk to her.
well, and as I said, we need more of that. You and I talk about this off air sometimes. We need more of that.
Oh, Ty, you said some things in here about me before I got in here, though. I was watching when you said that that I come in here for the attention.
Oh yeah.
Could you do me a favor? And I mean, this is your opinion. You're entitled to it. Could you elaborate on that for me, please?
No. Oh, okay. Just so we're clear on this, you're telling me I'm entitled to my opinion?
Yes, you are entitled to your opinion.
Was that okay? Was that a point of dispute? Do you think that I didn't think I was entitled to an opinion?
No, I'm just saying that you're entitled to your opinion. I'd like to know why you said what you said.
Okay, good. Okay, so we're agreed on that. Okay, then what was your point then about my opinion? Yeah, oh, about your attention seeking. Yeah, no, I mean, you do. When you look at sort of who you select, I mean, I know that you will, on occasion, sort of take someone from the back burner and say, okay, well, I'll talk to this person on my channel. But you do seek out, I mean, you would admit this yourself, wouldn't you, that you do seek out, like, oh, I'm going to go on Geek Room and I'm going to talk to Bionic Dance, and a lot of people are going to watch that.
No.
And
well, G-Man, I kind of agree with him, because when you were talking about how homosexuality doesn't benefit society, I happen to be pansexual, so I was trying to join you on that, and you completely ignored me for the entire stream. So, you know,
I didn't go on the Geek Show to get a lot of viewers. It wasn't even on my channel, and I didn't go and talk to Bionic Dance because I didn't even know Bionic Dance was going to be there. You know, and then Shannon today wanted to talk to me, so I didn't pick and choose anything. So I don't agree with your opinion when you say that I only want to talk to people, you know, for attention. There are people here on YouTube that only got, like, you know, that way less subscribers than me that I'll talk to in a second because I desire to have a conversation with them, like Emperor Atheist and like the Atheist Comedy Channel and people like that. I'll talk to Xbox Fiend if he invited me to his channel. Why not? You know what I mean?
Well, but no, hold on, G-Man. This is kind of a subtle straw man here, but where I say that you do things to that where you know it's going to bring some attention, it's going to bring some views and some viewers. And by the way, that's not even critical because, and I've said this before, and people, oh, G-Man's doing that for the views. I go, well, who isn't doing it for the views? You're on YouTube, for crying out loud. Don't put your face on YouTube and claim that somehow it's bad that people are doing something for views. So don't read criticism in where there's none. But what you're doing too is you're taking my claim that you select these things preferentially based on views and viewers, and you're taking it as saying, as if I'm saying, ever have a conversation with somebody when it doesn't involve views and viewers, because I know you. I mean, you do off-air hangouts with people, right? So I know that that's not the only thing you do. So don't put those words in my mouth that I'm saying you never do it. I'm saying that you're more attracted to opportunities where you're going to get views and viewers. That's true, isn't it?
No. I want to have I just want to have certain conversations or debates with people in which I can change some minds. That's what I'm interested in. It's not about views. When and if it's ever about that is when I got a big enough topic where I want to make some massive changes to what I perceive to be a problem here online.
Okay, G-Man, but I have a question for you. How come, like, every time I've tried to get a hold of you to either invite you to the show that I am hosting, or trying to actually put 2 cents on the subject that you are talking about, which I mostly know, you flat out ignore me?
I don't know who you are. Did you leave a comment on my YouTube channel?
I've also sent you numerous hangouts, which you tend to ignore.
What is your channel called?
It's Matthew Bright, aka it's Matthew Bright MCTV. I've sent you numerous hangouts. I even tried to talk to you when you were talking about if homosexuality benefits society, mostly because I happen to be pansexual, so I fall in the homosexual category.
You say you're a pansexual. What do you mean by that? What's a pansexual?
Pansexual comes from the Greek word all, which means I'm accepting of all genders and other identities. I do not look for somebody with their sexual organs. I look at the person as a person. For all those who don't know what pansexual actually means.
So a pansexual is somebody that sleeps with whoever they want to sleep with.
Exactly.
I didn't know you needed a label for that, but I'm on your G Plus now. When did you send me a link? Let's see something here.
I've sent you hangouts to try to get you to actually talk to me so I can send you links, but you flat out ignored.
You're not the only person that sends me hangouts. Let me see. I don't see anything recent that you sent me.
G-Man, can I interject with a question here?
Sure.
How many requests for conversations do you get maybe a week? Like how many, just let us all know, how many requests for conversations, hangouts, or just invites onto channels do you get per week?
Yeah, I was wondering that too, yeah.
I have no idea. I don't know.
No, like, would you say in the dozens or in the 50s or hundreds or thousands? I mean, how would you label it?
If you give me 5 minutes to check my G Plus, I can count them and tell you.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm actually trying to defend you here. And I'm not saying that, I'm saying what it is we all discriminate. We all have to figure out how to use our time. You have X amount of time, you have a job, and you like to be online and have conversations about the topics you care about. And so I'm not saying anyone's channel is unworthy of your time, but you have X amount of time and you use it to the best of your ability, right?
Well, yeah, and I am selective to a certain degree because I recently made a decision that I'm not going to waste my time with people I perceive to be trolls. And let me define what I mean by that. And that's people in here that just wants to talk to me for the laughs. The last time somebody said that to me here on the internet, I took it really personal, and I made a decision that I'm not going to waste 5 seconds of my time talking to somebody who's on here for the laughs. If you want to have a serious conversation, then fine. But
oh, I want to ask you about that.
I gotta get up 6 o'clock in the morning and go work. I honestly don't got no time to be talking to nobody about who you want to laugh, bro. I got some funny videos on my channel and some funny stuff on YouTube I can recommend you go watch, but don't waste my time. You know?
But here's the thing, I'm not here to waste your time. I'm actually here to talk to you.
I didn't know who you were before today. Okay.
I got some administrative duties here.
Debate. Well, I actually don't. Do you mind if I ask why you want me to turn my camera off?
It's just a request from the outside. Let's put it that way. And let's leave it at that.
Okay then.
It cuts down on the bandwidth basically.
It does, and I was actually going to say that too. Part of it is how much of the field is filled. It actually, if like right now, G-Man's just got his face in the middle, so as he moves, it doesn't eat up a lot of bandwidth. But as you move around, it has to keep sending what is the P frames or the I frames, whatever it is. But also, if you could, your microphone's coming in really kind of muffled, like you're not sort of directly interfacing with your microphone.
Is this any better?
Yeah, and then sorry, could I also? Meliagris Felis is asking for the link in the. Can I? Do you mind? She's familiar. Do you mind if I send her the link through some means? Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jade, if you let me know best means to send it to you.
But no, G-Man, if you actually give me the chance, I'd love to have you on the channel, on my channel, or we could have a conversation when you have the time. But yeah, I'd actually love to have either a discussion or debate with you. So just
No, this is the first hangout I've been able to do for a while. So as soon as I get some time, I'll make myself more available. Yeah. But I'm gonna have to check your channel out first, though, man, because like I said, I'm trying to avoid certain kinds of channels.
Yeah, right now I'm actually I'm on a pretty much reboot of my channel because beforehand I decided to be kind of childish at first, but ever since I started applying myself to certain different subjects and topics, I haven't really had the chance to reboot my channel, mostly because of college. So I am working on that right now.
Okay, so I'll just take a look at an old video of yours. You have old videos on there, right?
Yeah, but again, most of them are when I was very, like, a lot younger.
Okay. Can somebody vouch for you?
Pew review can actually vouch for me because
Oh,
pew review.
no.
He can also vouch for me.
No.
I have talked to Steve multiple times.
I'll ask Steve about you. Steve will tell me. I'll talk
Yeah.
to Steve about you.
Yeah, let's go forward with other discussions at this point.
Because a pew review
You,
is
know,
part of
you
that.
guys will hook up offline at some point. If you'll get in touch with Steve and G-Man and discuss Matt. And
I'm calling Steve right now.
We'll get it. Actually, yeah.
But yeah, I don't have a problem. So I'm assuming you want to talk about my opinions about the LGBT community.
I think that was for you, Matt.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you give me a chance to talk about anything, including the views of an agnostic person or an atheist or even Christianity, because I actually know all three views very personally, because I've been in all three views. So I mean, talk about LGBTQ or anything involving the Christian religion, I can pretty much.
Christianity is not a religion. Christianity is a relationship with God.
I beg to differ. I believe it's a religion.
We can talk right now if you want. Then I don't have a problem with that.
How what is your operational definition of religion? Just define religion for us right now.
Rules and regulations and dogmas that must be followed in order to achieve some goal.
We already got it.
Huh.
Steve just texted me.
So, so Matt, I have no problem disagreeing with you on that because, you know, a lot of people think Christianity is a religion. It's all right.
Well, is Christianity not rules and regulations for how people should run their lives?
Nope. It's a relationship with Jesus Christ. It's a relationship with the Creator.
Does the Bible give rules and regulations?
The Bible is divided into the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Old Testament, God gave a whole bunch of, like 613 laws, statutes, and commandments to the nation of Israel. The church, however, is followers of Jesus Christ, and we obey His commandments. But that's not a religion. It's just us being obedient to our King.
So Christianity does not give rules and regulations for how one should live their lives.
Rules and regulations? No, I wouldn't call them rules and regulations.
Okay. I find that very odd, but you're saying Christianity does not give rules and regulations for how one should live their lives, thus it's not a religion.
We have commandments. We have commandments. We don't have rules and regulations.
So commandments are not rules and regulations.
Like, for example, I don't believe, for example, that in order for me to go to heaven, I gotta not eat pork, or in order for me to go to heaven, I gotta cut somebody's head off, or whatever.
How about bearing false witness, or not avoiding bearing false witness, or loving your neighbors yourself, or any of the other things that you would call commandments?
That's not a religion. That's different. Those are commandments.
But how is it different? So commandments.
If that's a religion, then following the laws of the government is a religion then too, and you would be just as religious as me.
What is?
Well, I don't
not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
Brian, do you know my definition of religion, because I kind of have a whole different opinion on it.
Well,
what exactly do you want to talk about regarding Christianity? That's what I want to know.
Well, I mean, after I throw out my definition, Brian, Steve actually did message me, and he said that we'll set something up later. But my definition of religion is something that basically you're putting your faith into something that's a higher power than you. You're going all out and believing that no matter what it is, it's absolutely truth, nothing else but truth, and you follow your life based on what that God or the book that you have read basically dictates your entire life, such as the Bible for Christians, the Quran for Islamic people, so. So I mean, like, religion is more than just commandments. Like G-Man said, but at the same time, there is a lot of regulations that Christianity has, such as Jesus told you to turn the other cheek. He also told you not to judge others, which is also a way of living your life. And people can switch and change words around that they pick and choose, decide what the Bible says, and they can twist what they say. But at the same time, there are a lot of Christian believers, or Christians that will live by certain texts and pick out and believe that this is their commandment. But my view on religion is just something that you stick your neck out for, believe in a higher power. So I mean, that's all I really want to say for now.
Okay.
I mean, there's also that entire little piece in the Bible where it's like, hey, if you love me, keep my commands.
John 14. That's yeah. So I mean, these aren't mere suggestions, but the pretty much the entirety of John chapter 14 reads as you really well, yeah, it boils down to if you love me, keep my commandments. And G-Man, we're sort of a group of us are sort of operating from a different definition of religion in that I think other people, when they've been given their definitions, kind of include I guess a supernatural component to it, or I've heard the term higher power, because I mean I find your definition okay. So there's two problems I see here. One is that to say that it's based on rules and regulations, and then to say, oh yeah, well those rules and regulations that Jesus gave us that he made mandatory aren't really rules and regulations. I'm going to call them commandments, which in some sense are different from rules and regulations. That to me sounds like a distinction without a difference. But second,
Well,
then that would mean that
commandments would be divine rules. So
yeah, well, believing Jesus, yeah, certainly believing Jesus to be divine, and I think he also makes clear in John 3 and I'm going to say it also in John 14 that it's really not optional. Like you have to. But then again, anybody who's say like a member of a professional association, like if you're a lawyer and you're a member of your professional association, you got to follow the rules and regulations set out for you as a lawyer. Does that make being a practicing lawyer a religion? I mean, to me, just follow, if you're a professional basketball player and you by the rules of basketball, does that mean basketball is a religion? Like, do you not think that your definition then falls short, G-Man, by saying it's entirely based on rules and regulation, or do you think there's more to it than that?
No, I think what I said was correct. And the reason why I know it's correct is there's plenty of religions out there that don't involve a God. Plenty of them.
Well, I mean,
unless, we look at LaVeyan Satanists and you guys are ready to admit that it's theism, because I've been saying that for the longest. Or if you want to look at atheism and call it theism, because that's a religion according to our law. Or we can look at, or yeah, I am going to stick with that because that's what the law is. And you ever want to go to court about that? If you ever think I'm misrepresenting you guys, all you got to do is get a lawyer, take me to court, and let's see what the judge says. I'm going to win that one all day long.
Well, I mean,
okay, let's do that.
Can we have that conversation? Because like I would love to have that conversation. Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, I mean, first off, you're saying, okay, so what defines a religion is rules and regulations, the presence of rules and regulations. And so everything I said. Well, no, I asked you, do you want to add something to that? Because it sounded to me like that's an inadequate definition.
I said more than that. That ain't what I said. I didn't say rules and regulations and then stopped. That ain't the only thing I said.
Well, no, I asked you, okay, well then what's the thing that you'd wish to add to it then?
I'm not adding nothing to it. Say what I said.
Okay, you don't.
That's not what I said.
You want to add something, but you don't want to add something. Okay. Well, the point is, I mean, the rules and regulations thing, I don't think is really a relevant part of when people are talking about religion, right? And I mean, if that were the case, G-Man, you couldn't in any way say that atheism is a religion, because that's the one thing for which there are no rules and regulations. There's no sort of membership requirements except for simply not believing. But yeah, do you want to go to your thing? Because it's been, and I was recounting earlier, you might have heard at the beginning of the Hangout, I was sort of recounting that it was in May of I think 2014 that you had said you were going to come up with some evidence for you're going to try to back up your claim that in the United States it's the law that atheism is a religion.
That is, take me to court. That's my evidence.
Take me to court.
Take me to court.
You don't have evidence. Okay.
No, that's not true. Take me to court. Take me to court. I mean, in front of a real judge, not the court of public opinion. Take me to a legal judge. And then let's go ask him whether or not it's considered a religion or not. Because I don't care what the public.
So you don't have evidence. This is you admitting you don't have evidence. As soon as you say that, well, the way that you're going to provide evidence is for me, a guy who lives in another country and has no interest in seeing you in a courtroom, to take you to court to ask a judge this question. I mean, that's ridiculous. You may as well say, oh, well, I have evidence for this, but fly to my house in a unicorn and drop pixie dust on my house, and then I'll show you the evidence. That means you don't have the evidence. You didn't have the evidence 4 years ago when I asked you this question. You haven't had it since, and you don't have it today. That's your admission right there.
And like I said earlier, you're entitled to your opinion.
That's you throwing up your hands. That's you throwing in the towel. You have a right to your opinion.
That's you.
I know I have a right to an opinion.
That's you giving up. That's you giving your opinion, and I'm trying to respect your opinion. I'm trying really hard to respect your opinion, but that's all it is an opinion.
My opinion doesn't need your respect, because what I just stated about you not having evidence to back up your claim that this is how it exists in American law, an opinion that's a conclusion that's derived from all available evidence. 4 years of you not being able to answer this question. 4 years of you running from this discussion. That's a 4-year-long solid trail of evidence leading to the conclusion that you just don't have evidence for it. And that's fine. And you know what? You have every right to believe that atheism is a religion. You have every right to believe that your courts ruled that atheism is a religion, even though that's not true.
You have a Bible near you? You have a Bible near you, Hotai?
As I mentioned to you before, I used to, but there was a cat pee incident, so now when I need to look up something in the Bible, I look it up online.
I have the biggest Bible.
Give me the citation first. Give me the citation first.
I hate to interrupt this. If it's a 4-year conversation, if it's been going on for 4 years between you and G-Man, is it really productive at this point to continue?
I'm not really talking.
No, hold on a sec. I can answer that. So we've closed that part of it. He doesn't have any evidence that there's any that's what the courts or that's what the law says. But he wants to move on to something else now. He wants to move on to read something from the Bible. And all I'm saying is, G-Man, can you just tell me which passage you want to read?
I'm actually going to read it because you claim you don't got one in your house.
No, that's not true. I don't have a physical Bible. I said that when I do need to look something up, I look it up online. So I can do that now. Can you just give me the passage so that I can read it as you're reading it, please?
So I'm going to read this passage myself. And this is found in James chapter 1, verse 27. It says, "Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this." It doesn't say Christianity, by the way. It says to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. And you know, the funny thing is, atheists want to get rid of religion. You know, that's pretty interesting. Why would you want to get rid of somebody who wants to care for the fatherless and widows? I never understood that. Can you explain that to me?
G-Man, can I ask
why is religion so evil?
Complete straw man.
No, it's not a straw man, because you want to talk about, we've been talking about for 4 years. I've been defending the fact that people who have a religion are not evil, and the things that they believe is not evil, although you got some people out there that some sickos out there and whatnot, but you know, religion in of itself is not a bad thing. And
I agree. I agree totally.
Yeah.
G-Man, can I ask you a few questions real quick? Can I ask you a few questions on this topic?
Who you asking me or?
Okay. Yes, you.
Sure.
Yes. What I'd like to ask you is regarding, you mentioned that people with religion are not evil, and I think we agree with that. But I want to know, is it possible for someone to not have religion? Is that possible?
I don't know. I'll get back to you on that one. I got to think about that.
So, what would you call someone who does not have religion? Let's pretend this person exists. If someone exists who does not have religion, what would you call them?
I'll think about that. It wouldn't be an atheist, that's for sure. I definitely wouldn't call them an atheist.
Okay. So, but is it possible for that person to exist?
I got to think about that one.
Okay, well, it's a good question.
It is a good question. That's why I have to think about it.
And I think
and it's very rare, by the way, that I get good questions from the atheist community. I appreciate it.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And so I think what you're getting at a lot with what I'm hearing you say is that the Bible has a lot of good things in it. That I'm going to mute my sound back here. The Bible has a lot of good things in it that we should listen to and help us live better lives. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
The Bible has a lot of good things in it that help us live better lives.
Oh, of course, yes.
So I think the biggest issue we have as many atheists or agnostics is, why should we believe these supernatural, metaphysical, whatever you want to call it, hello, Todd, claims of the Bible?
Well, atheists already do to a certain degree in a bunch of subtle ways that they don't know.
How do they believe these claims?
Well, for example, do you know what Luciferianism is?
A bit.
I believe that a lot of atheists, without knowing it, practices Luciferianism. That they actually believe the devil is a good guy and that God is the bad guy. Because, you know, for the life of me, I for a long time, I couldn't understand, why do atheists hate God? I mean, you look at some evil people, human beings in the Bible that nobody even brings up what they've done, but they're always talking about God. Well, you want to know who hates God in the Bible more than anything? The devil. And you want to know who atheists hate more than anything? Listen to me. The Death Star can destroy entire planets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? what did they call that in Rogue One? Not in Rogue One. In The Force Awakens, that thing that destroyed multiple planets. What was that thing called? Star Killer Base. They don't even hate that, and that's supposed to be a fictional thing, and it genocide multiple planets and whatnot, right? You never hear them making videos about it. And there's a religion out there, people follow the Star Wars nonsense. They call themselves urban acolytes and various other things where they believe in the Force and all that stuff and whatnot. You'd be surprised.
Can I ask you a hypothetical question?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, let's say, like, I personally believe in no religions. I think there are people of all religions who are good people. I just want to put that out there. But let's say people who believe in Islam wanted to make laws in the United States, which I believe you live in. Would you be mad if they were trying to make laws about how you should worship Allah? Would you be mad about that? If they made laws...
I know where you're going with that. Because atheists come after us politically for that matter. It depends. If they made laws forcing me to worship Allah, I would have an issue with that. And I don't support any Christian that wants to force somebody to worship God. As a matter of fact, unless they're not Christians at all and they're pretending to be them, I don't support any idea of somebody forcing you to worship God, kind of like the Roman Catholic Church did back, in the day and whatnot. So I don't support that.
Hold on,
G-Man, I'll say this real quick and then I'll finish a bit. But if you want, G-Man, I'll grab one of the biggest Bibles you've ever seen. I promise you, I come from a very Christian family. And we have a long lineage of Christian, and we have a Bible that is about yay thick, and I will grab it for you and show you on camera.
Wait, hang on, Brian, just real quick. Did you?
I'm sure you probably do got a Bible. I'm proud of it, but you gotta read it though. You gotta study it. I need you to read it. I need you to read it.
Oh no!
Is it handy? Brian, is it handy? Is it handy?
Oh, it's heavy. I'll go grab it. I mean, fuck it. Why not?
The reason I'm curious because we used to have one again. So these family hand-me-down Bibles and stuff. We had one that was pretty big. It was at my grandmother's house last I saw it. Wait, she since passed, so who knows where it ended up.
Matt, you're like uber quiet. You have to. I don't know what's wrong with your mic, guy.
How about now?
All right.
A little bit better. Let me try to turn you up here.
I'm going to take about 20 seconds on camera here. This is our family Bible right here. This is probably about 250 years old.
If you don't want that, send it to me.
Hell no, I'm not sending this to you.
Yeah, I know. That's about the size ours was, except mine had a white cover, strangely.
I wish I could show you this page a little more in depth. It shows our family history. Like, everything on here is recorded. My parents would probably kill me. I'm dog sitting for them. But this is, a 250-year-old Catholic Bible. So, I mean, it's heavy as hell. Is
that an 1811? Is that an 1811 one?
I do not know, G-Man. But this is, and I have read the Bible multiple times.
Is the Apocrypha in that Bible?
Some of the Apocrypha.
You should rip it out. You should rip it out and burn it and use it for paper or whatnot. I don't like the Apocrypha.
Well, Revelation says to not add or subtract, so why should I should not?
Well, the Apocrypha is not the Bible, though. It's just used.
Well, by the Council of Nicaea, it's not the Bible, but who knows what
the Council of Nicaea? No, that it contradicts the scriptures.
Well, who decided what the Bible?
May I add that the scriptures contradict themselves, but
I'm just glad to show this off on camera so it has some. I mean, this thing is a good 20 pounds. I'll mute. And
that's impressive, actually. That's a huge Bible.
Yeah, that's cool. Like I say, we had a similar one, and it was the same thing with the family history thing at the back. And again, it's probably off at one of my cousin's place by now, so I know my grandmother has since passed. But yeah, it's about the same size, and it's a pretty big tradition for a lot of families.
Okay, I actually have a quick question, though. G-Man just said that he doesn't like anything that contradicts the Bible, correct?
I didn't just say that. I didn't say that.
No, he said that do not add or subtract. Do not add or
no, that's what Brian said. That's not what I said.
Was it Brian said? Okay, sorry.
I said that the Apocrypha contradicts Scripture. Is not inspired for a whole bunch of reasons. The Hebrew Israelites try that nonsense with me a lot by throwing that Apocrypha at me, and they don't even know what the heck is even in it. They don't know that book was that King James himself said that the book was used for historicity and not as authoritative.
Okay, so basically you're telling me that the only Bible that you will read is a King James version.
I believe that the Bible for serious study, the best one, and like I said, you don't got to believe it, but it's the KJV. But I have other Bible translations in here. I got a parallel Bible. I got an NIV in here. I got new KJV that 13 Heathens gave me. I have a bunch of different Bibles in here.
Do you not find it strange that there's that many Bibles and a few of them say different things and contradict each other?
Yeah, because the devil is attacking God's word. And he's smart for doing it. That's how you confuse people and get people to drop their beliefs to join other beliefs.
I dropped the belief
Very
because
clever
the Bible
indeed.
literally contradicts itself millions of times.
Oh, it does? Really? This is news to me. Can you give me an example?
Jesus' entire stance went completely against the Old Testament.
Oh, he did? Can you show me that?
Yeah, it even fucking says in one of the scriptures, it said he's basically saying she turned the other cheek. That goes against eye for an eye, which is taught in the Old Testament.
I'm sorry, say that again? You were talking so fast I didn't get that. Can you say that again?
Okay. When Jesus comes on the spot, he basically says turn the other cheek. In the Old Testament, it literally says eye for an eye. That contradicts everything. He contradicts everything in the Old Testament. And I find it hilarious that everyone's like, oh my God, Jesus is so dependable. He literally is freaking contradicting everything that God said in the Old Testament.
Yes?
Can I do this one, G-Man? G-Man, can I do this one?
Wait.
I think I'm gonna G-Man. Let's just do it. Okay. Paul, do you want to do this one?
No, go.
Okay, so Matt, oh jeez, I can't be mean. I don't know,
okay.
Matt. Yeah, you do it. Okay.
Okay, Matt, if you're going to do that, you need to read Matthew chapter 5, because it's not that Jesus said something that was inconsistent with with an eye for an eye. Jesus actually starts by saying, you may have heard it said among you, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, and then he goes on to explain why this needs to be taken in context and why he's sort of enriching what the Christian message is, if you want to call yourself a follower of Christ. So I guess, I mean, I'm sure I should do it this way, Matt. Have you read Matthew chapter 5? Have you sat down on the Matthew 5 verse 1 and actually read the entire chapter?
I've read the entire Bible. Went to a.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
Actually, yes, I have. I actually have.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
G-Man.
Okay, actually, yes, I have, because I have.
Matt, be quiet for a second. G-Man, it's kind of rude to actually say that someone didn't do something when they.
Okay, I'm sorry. You know what, Matt? You read it. You read the Bible, Matt. You mind if I test you a little bit, Matt? Matt, you read the Bible, right?
Me and I
ask you some basic questions.
I didn't even get to finish what I was saying.
Okay, go ahead.
I've read the entire Bible, and in my state, they had a Bible statewide competition, which I took first place in.
Oh, wow. Congratulations, man. I'm glad to hear that. You got proof of that?
Yeah, actually, I do.
All right, cool. That's great. You can show me when I come to your channel.
Okay.
All right.
Well, now I'm at a loss, because I honestly, and should I apologize? Because to me, your earlier comment about about how Jesus went against that sounded to me like you weren't really familiar with the story. So maybe you want to elaborate on your point a bit more.
Okay.
We should give you a little more credit, I guess.
To me, I just believe that with a whole lot of things that Jesus taught, he went against a lot of the reason why the Jewish people didn't believe that he was the Son of Christ was because they believed that he was going against exactly what the New Testament was teaching. They weren't. It's not that the fact that he was self-proclaiming to be God. He was literally going against everything. People, including myself, a lot of people in the agnostic stance and things also believe that Jesus was going against what the what the whole New Testament was going against what the Old Testament taught. It's not just me. Whenever I did an extensive study, before I even went to that competition, I sat down, read the entire Bible, studied it. I studied questions that I knew that they were going to ask, and I could get. The only thing that came off, I missed one question in that entire thing. There were 99 questions. I missed 1 out of 99.
So how old are you, Matt?
The only reason why I missed it was because I spelt the name wrong.
So how old are you, Matt? What are you, like 20? You're 20?
Yes.
Okay, and you read the entire Bible. That's great. Have you studied the Bible?
Yes, I actually have a Schofield Bible, which I have studied.
Okay, so what's your opinion of God since you studied the Bible?
My opinion on God is that I am an agnostic person. I do not believe that he exists, and I don't believe that he doesn't. I want more proof that he exists.
Wait a minute. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. You don't Okay, so you don't believe that he exists, and that you don't believe that he does not exist?
Yes,
Consider it a neutral.
exactly.
Okay.
I'm a very
Okay,
neutral-
so why don't you believe he exists?
because in my entire life, I was forced to go to church. I was forced to believe in something that I didn't even think existed for the longest period of time. I don't believe that someone could fit two pair of every single animal on a boat and it actually stay afloat and it being able to survive. Because that's just one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. I don't believe in half of the shit that it says in the Bible. Sorry for cussing if this is a all age video. I apologize.
No biggie.
So you're an atheist because you were forced to go to church, and you
I'm
don't
not
believe that 2 of every animal was put on the ark.
I'm not atheist.
He's not an
I
atheist.
lost it there.
But Matt, I mean, it seems like you present good reason for why you're not a biblical literalist, but I mean, that's not what G-Man's question was.
It's a good thing they're helping you right now, because what you just said just now doesn't constitute an atheist.
G-Man, we're helping you, not him.
No, you're not helping me. I don't need nobody's help. So anyway, Matt. Okay, so you were forced to go to church. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that, man. You won't force your kids to go to church. All right, you'll give them an option. All right. If you ever start going to church again, you repent of all these sins that you've done. You haven't given me a reason why God doesn't exist, though.
I didn't say that he didn't exist. Like I told you, I don't believe that he does, and I don't believe that he doesn't.
Okay, so you're in the middle.
Yes.
You don't got a yes or a no. You're in the middle.
Yes.
What does the Bible say about that?
What does it matter what the Bible says about being in the middle?
Well, because let your yes be a yes and let your no be your no. Anything in the middle comes from the evil one.
No,
That's why.
No, you're wrong about that, G-Man. That is not what the Bible.
I am not wrong about that. That's what it says.
Let me explain your mistake there. So when Jesus was saying about your yea be your yea, your nay be your nay, it was about speaking the truth. It was not about belief formation, right? He was saying that when you hold a belief, you speak the truth to your belief. But it doesn't say that you have to hold absolute certainty in every one of your beliefs, even when there isn't evidence to lead you one way or the other. That's what you just said was a complete misrepresentation of what Jesus said.
Hogtie, are you presently reading and studying the Bible right now or something? Or
and this is why I have a problem with Christianity.
No, I just know better.
Wait. I'm sorry. I'm saying, are you presently reading and studying? You know it better than me. That's great. Do you mind if I invite Matt Slick in here so you can tell him you know it better than me? Because I would like a witness. Because I would like a witness in here.
I would actually
for the comment.
I would have a problem with that.
See, here's a problem. Hogside, not only do you not know the Bible better than me, I would say that you don't even know evolution better than me. But you know what I'm still waiting for? What I'm still waiting for is those transitional fossils. You know, when you get those, then talk to me, okay? Thank you.
Okay, watch what happened. Oh, no, real quick here. Watch what happened here, or unless you got a moderator thing. No, okay, because what just happened there was I had given some correction to G-Man about his.
No, you didn't. You were wrong. You were wrong.
G-Man had misrepresented what Jesus was saying in that passage.
No, I didn't.
I gave a correction. It's G-Man. You have a right to your opinion, G-Man. And I gave a correction to it, and G-Man's response to it was to start launching into an ad hominem about whether or not I'm studying the Bible, and then something, and then transitional fossils. So instead of, G-Man, if you think that you have the correct interpretation, then trot out the passage, explain to me how I'm wrong in my interpretation of what Jesus was saying there,
is the Bible
you're just dodging.
Let me ask you a question, Hogtie Champ.
Sure.
Is this a useful? Is this thing right here a comic book? Or is it useful for good information? Because I like to see if you're going to contradict your worldview as an atheist. What is this as an atheist to you?
It is not a comic book. No. Yes, it's full of useful information. Lots of historically accurate things. Lots of socially relevant, important concepts. Yeah, it's good stuff.
So the flood happened.
No. No. He made a comment about 2 of every animal being put on the ark. So the flood happened there, right? You disagree with him, obviously, about the 2 of every animal being put on the ark, right? So no, there was no such ark, no such parade of 2 such of each animal. No.
Then how is the Bible historically accurate if you don't believe in the flood? One of the key events in the Bible.
Okay, so you can't respond to the point I actually made. Instead, you have to make up a point and then challenge me on that. Okay.
I'm not making up a point.
I never said that Bible was 100% historically accurate. If I thought the Bible was 100% historically accurate, then I would be a biblical inerrantist. I think that there's some accuracies in there, and there are also some very useful, important social ideas that are often told in what's, I forgot the word for it now, starts with an A. You know, these rhetorical styles, right? And I also think that there's a lot of heinous things in there too. I mean, it's like any other ancient book. It's a good read.
So Jesus existed then, right?
I don't know. I'm inclined to think yes.
You don't know, but you're inclined to say yes. That's two things that's not historically accurate. I'm sorry. Adam and Eve existed, didn't they?
No, certainly not.
That's number 3. So far we're 0 and 3. What exactly in the Bible is historically accurate? I know the Exodus, right? The Exodus happened, right?
Oh, certainly not. Oh, good Lord, no.
Okay, so that's 0 and 4. You said that the Bible is historically accurate, and you got 0 things.
No, I didn't.
True, and 4 things that didn't happen.
No, he never said it. He never said it was accurate.
Give me something in the Bible that actually happened. Give me something in the Bible.
Hold on, G-Man. Do you think that Hogtie said that the Bible was historically accurate?
Hogtie champ, give me one thing. Give me one thing that actually happened in the Bible according to the claims. Give me one thing that actually happened.
But he never claimed that one thing in the Bible did happen. He didn't never said it.
Hogtie champ. I'm talking to Hogtie right now, Sokka. Okay. So Hogtie champ. So Hogtie champ, can you please answer the question? And I know what you said, and I know what you said, and you get mad when I call you a liar.
Wait, so you knew what he said, but you're deliberately misinterpreting him?
You're deliberately lying about what I said.
He said that there are some things in here that are historically accurate, and I named 4 things, and he said all 4 things were not historically accurate.
You picked.
So I'm asking you a specific question. I'm asking you a specific question. Tell me what in the Bible is historically accurate.
Oh, the reign of Herod.
Because according to Sokka,
Romans existed.
Sokka was just accusing me.
The sacking of the temple.
Sokka just said that you didn't say that. Sokka just said that you didn't say that. It's either I'm not listening or I'm a liar. Make your mind up.
No, I think it's a mixture. I think you're partially listening, and you are definitely a liar.
You can call me what you want. It don't bother me. You can call me what you want. It don't bother me. I know what you're trying to do.
You're interrupting. You're interrupting. So calm down. So no, the problem is, G-Man. I mean, what's weird about your strange choice to strawman my position is that you're intentionally strawmanning it into something that you know that I don't believe, and that you know nobody thinks that I believe. When I concede that there are some historically accurate things in the Bible, instead of you addressing that point, you say, "Oh, well, I'm going to show up Hogtie by claiming that he said the Bible's 100% historically accurate," which is ridiculous. That's a complete. I mean, you'd actually do better if you strawman my position to say that I was saying that everything in the Bible is wrong, because at least then there are people who say stuff like that. I mean, it's ridiculous, G-Man. Yes, there are some things that are historically accurate in the Bible. Yes, there are some things that are good lessons and socially relevant things that I think people should take home. There are some things that are unpleasant in there, and I think that there's some just crazy fables in there, like the flood and Adam and Eve and things like that.
Well, anyway, the purpose of me asking you that question, which was clearly what my whole purpose of doing this, was to show you that I should not be paying any attention to anything that you're saying about the Bible, since you clearly don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, you're already clear.
I'm just saying, I believe the flood happened. You don't. I believe that Jesus actually existed. He died on a cross and he rose from the dead. You don't. So since
he didn't believe that.
Since I believe these things happened and you do not, and these are essentials, I'm not to pay you any mind. You're a false teacher, in my opinion, so I'm not to pay you any mind. I knew what I was doing when I was asking you no questions. You, however, didn't have the foggiest idea of what I was doing. So you can continue now.
I knew what you were doing. You were lying about what I was saying so that you could avoid what I was saying. You had said something. You misrepresented.
Hogtie, G-Man, it's not productive for you both to sit there in this hangout and call each other liars. It's just not. Well, so I think
he's lying. I'm not saying he is a liar.
I'm saying he's lying. You're calling him a liar.
Yeah.
Maybe we should
a liar and
go back to the conversation, which was about the interpretation of Matthew 5 there.
Right.
Let's go back to that. So G-Man, what was it about Matthew 5 that you think Hogtie got wrong?
My interpretation about what this kid said earlier when he said that when he was in the middle, he didn't have a yes and he didn't have a no. I believe his answer was strictly from the devil, according to the scriptures. Now, if Hogtie Champs wants to disagree with me and tell me that I'm a liar, then
No,
he
no,
can
no.
do that. He can do that. But, however, I know that if the church was in here, I know who would be right and who would be wrong in here. So I'm not worried about it. So the bottom line is, Hogtie Champ wants to believe he knows the Bible better than me. No problem. He can believe that.
Well,
nobody in the church believes you, but you can believe that if you want.
Okay, here's your problem, G-Man. Is it so you misrepresented what Jesus was saying in that part of the passage, right? And I'm calling you on it. I'm saying that's a mistake. And you can do what, for example, what Beckel would do, and actually educate me on it, or look at it yourself with an open mind and make sure you understand what Jesus was saying in the sermon. Or you can do what you're actually doing right now, looking around and being goofy and not really paying attention, and you're going to argue and say, well, I don't have to listen to Hoggy. All you've done is gone to personal things. This is, by the way, literally the definition of an ad hominem argument. You're saying that I'm wrong about this aspect of Matthew chapter 5.
No, what you're trying to do is trigger me. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to trigger me right now.
I'm trying to get you to look at the scripture and understand it properly.
What you're trying to do right now. I've already texted Steve and told him that you're trying to do it. You're trying to trigger me right now. I'm not stupid. I know what you're doing.
Okay.
I'm not. The only one who can trigger you is you, G-Man, and you're doing a fine job
Listen
of it.
to me. I had a conversation with a nice atheist earlier. If you want to act like a jerk, then be a jerk.
I'm not being a jerk.
I'm
telling you you're mistaken about that particular passage.
No, you're not. What I think you need to go do is go study and read, bro.
You know what? I think
then why can't you address the point? Sorry,
okay, one second here. G-Man, you I know you've showed up your study Bible there a couple times. Does that have a commentary on Matthew 5:37?
I'm not showing you no commentary. I done said what I said, and I'm one of these people that I'm one of these Christians that do believe that when you say something to somebody enough times, you have to dust up their feet if they don't listen, and then walk away, and that's what I'm doing.
You're running away 100 miles an hour.
Because you have that study Bible, and I mean, I think this would be a good time. This would be a good time to, if Hogtie's got something wrong here, you can correct him so he doesn't make the same mistake again. And I mean, if on the chance that you're wrong, maybe you can take some correction on this as well. And it wouldn't be from him. I mean, it doesn't need to be from him. We can do this as a Bible, study together or whatever. So, what study Bible do you use?
I actually have a question. Where is these transitional fossils that prove that evolution is true?
Wait.
Run.
No, because I'm not going to let you guys just jump me like this. I'm not letting these guys jump me. I'm not letting these guys jump me. I'm not going to let these guys just jump me because they're bored.
Wait. Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Before we transition topics, can we talk about why the Bible would psychologically tell people to wholeheartedly believe in the religion? Let's not transition to...
The Bible doesn't tell nobody to believe in a religion. They tell us to believe in Jesus.
Okay, so it says wholeheartedly.
And by the way, now if you believe that we're supposed to wholeheartedly believe in a religion, can you show me chapter and verse? Because I like to see that.
He accepted your correction. He accepted your correction of the wording.
Do you believe that God spits out the lukewarm, that you should be on fire for Christianity, that you should be on fire?
Can you show me what you're talking about, please? Be specific.
Revelation 3:16, not John 3:16, but Revelation 3:16, that God spits out the lukewarm.
All right, and the reason why you want to know this is...
Well, no, that the Bible psychologically says that we should be on fire for our religion and believe it wholeheartedly. Be on fire for Christianity. If that is a religion or not, that is your opinion, but we should be wholeheartedly invested in it.
This is a letter. This is a letter that was written to the believers in Laodicea, and this was Jesus rebuking them. I don't know where you're getting this psychological stuff from.
I'm talking about
right there. This is not a study Bible. This is a letter written to Laodicea, okay? And the believers in Laodicea was lukewarm, and he rebuked them, and they were called to repent. So that's throughout the scriptures. So I'm not really sure where you're going with that.
Well, my question to you is we should not be lukewarm. We should be wholeheartedly invested in Christianity, correct?
Why wouldn't you want to be? Do you know what it means to be lukewarm?
But that's what the Bible wants of us, right? Or that's what Christianity wants of us, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what God wants from us. He wants us to be faithful to his word. He doesn't want people that's going to be sitting there, I'm a Christian, and never does anything. But go ahead.
So no, this is what I'm getting at here, is when you look at the psychological aspect of it, it's to fully believe and to not question. And do you ever question your religion? That's my question to you. Do you ever question it and say, I might be wrong?
Let me go to Revelation 3:16 and see where it says don't question anything, because I don't remember it ever saying anything like that. As a matter of fact, I do believe the Bible says that we're I believe the Bible does say word for word that we're supposed to question things.
Yeah,
okay, but before we do that, let's go to, and I don't need your help, Hog Tie Champ. I'm a Christian. I study my Bible, and I know it a heck of a lot better than you.
I thought you'd stop. You don't. I thought you'd stopped. I was just going to say I agree with what you're saying, but I thought you'd stop.
Revelation. I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. Hey, Hog Tie, listen to me, Hog Tie. And I'm going to shoot from the hip. I talked to you for an hour and 15 minutes on Skype, and you wasn't being a jerk. I don't know why you're acting the way you're acting.
I'm not
right now. Listen to me, Hog Tie. You need to listen
because you're coming in. Okay, you want to dial it down for a sec. I'll tell you why. Because you're coming in and you're all upset. You're itching for a fight.
I haven't even finished my statement, and you get mad when people interrupt you. Yet you do the same thing. So let me finish the statement, please. Okay. So my whole point is this: you claim you want to have positive dialogues. You're one of the regulars on the Magic Sandwich Show, and you claim that you want to have these intellectual dialogues, but when you don't even understand how to have a conversation where one person talks and the other person listens. I don't understand you sometimes. You guys get mad when I come in here and I want to debate and I'm all gung-ho, and when I'm trying to be nice, you got a problem with that. And I'm telling you, this is live for everybody to see this. Nothing I say on my channel about you is wrong. Nothing. I'm being 100% real here. Cut all this great debate nonsense out. You guys claim you're moral people. You claim that you're nice people. You're supposed to be these examples. Yet you get on true empiricism about muting your microphones and not letting you guys talk. And then when we come into your rooms, you're doing the exact same things.
How many times have you been muted? How many times in this hangout have you been muted?
You have interrupted me in the middle of a statement so that
I haven't, and I've stopped.
So that people cannot get the full idea of where I'm coming from multiple times. If you want to do that, just tell me to mute my microphone. I'll shut up. I'm in your room. These are your rules, and I'll obey them. I don't got a problem with that. I'll never join the great debate community. That's for sure, because I believe this is a horrible example.
Yeah. So no, you've interrupted me a lot more than I've interrupted you, and I have interrupted you, and I apologize for that. I'm trying to dial it back. I'm often make the point of these hangouts, especially when there's one person on one side and there's 9 other people on the other side. It's really, really hard to keep it balanced. And I apologize for that, but G-Man, you know, I will interrupt to scoff when you're going off the rails, when you simply can't address a point that's on the table. And yeah, I mean, you and I, a number of times over the years, we've had good conversations off air. We've had good conversations on air. But sometimes you come into a room like this, you come in heated up and ready to have an argument with somebody, and I just don't care. I don't feel the need to be extra polite to you when you're being childish.
I didn't ask nobody to be polite to me. I didn't ask nobody to be nice to me. But well, anybody who believes in honesty, anybody who believes in honesty in this room will see my demeanor when I was talking to Shannon, my demeanor when I was in here. And anybody with a half a brain can see that when I'm in this room, that you're intentionally trying to trigger me. If they want to lie to themselves, let me finish. If they want to lie to themselves and say that that's not happening, that's fine. But you're a YouTuber just like I am, and I can prove it without breaking a sweat. All right?
Okay, well, I'll take that on board. Okay, G-Man, I'll take that on board. I think you and I should then both just dial it down a bit. I have no problem with that. I think also another suggestion, G-Man, is you and I should also be a little more yielding to, I forgot your name already, but there is somebody in the room who's moderating, and I hear him occasionally breaking in on either me or you.
I'm attempting to break up the conversation between you and G-Man at this point, because there are some other people in the room that did come in quite some time ago.
Yeah, let them talk. Let them talk. Cause I don't. They're making this about me. I'm sure they got something else they can talk about. I don't like it when they make it about me when I come in these rooms.
Hey, G-Man, can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah, you better make it quick because I gotta go soon.
Well,
you guys are playing too many games. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to have a more in-depth conversation with you, and if you can tell, I try to be as respectful as possible. And if you would like, you have my email now, and we can set something up. Would you be okay with that?
I'll judge this room later to determine whether or not I do that. No disrespect or anything like that. No disrespect. But my New Year's resolution is to stay away from trolls. I will judge this room later.
Man, I will not judge this room later. I'll be as respectful as possible.
No. Listen to me. It's not about being respectful. Okay. If atheists are going to sit here and argue that they're moral, and that my God is all these horrible things, and then I expect them to be better. And if they're not going to do it, I'm not going to waste my time talking to them because they're hypocrites to me. And I'll quick to call them that. Very quick.
Well, I'll say this and then I won't say any more. Like, this is all I want to say to you. We can have a conversation on whatever topic you'd want. I will stick to that topic. You can choose the topic. Are you okay with that idea? and I'll be respectful.
I'll talk about whatever you want to talk about when I get you one-on-one, because I think that me and you can have a conversation. But it's hard to come into a Google Hangout where when people disagree, they don't know how to mute their microphone and wait till their turn comes to say something.
Yeah, no,
I don't know why they can't do that.
You have my email now. I have your email. Does that sound all right to you?
Yeah, sounds fine.
Sounds good, G-Man.
Nice.
What's up, how everybody doing tonight? Is G-Man mad about something?
I don't honestly
Don't button push.
Brian, you know what, Brian? I'm not talking to. Listen to me, Brian. Wolf King, I'm not going to talk to, and I'm about to stop talking all the time.
Oh, come on, G-Man.
Listen to me. There's another YouTuber named Dragnut on here. If he comes in here, I'm leaving. The bottom line is that there are some people on here that just want to be entertained. Anybody that wants to have a real conversation with me as an adult, I'll do that. Anybody wants to have these childish conversations, I'm not interested.
G-Man,
this is a waste of my time.
Let me just say, wait.
Sorry, go, Brian.
And if you speak to me, if we set this up tomorrow night, because I'm free tomorrow night, if you have time and we speak, I will be as respectful as possible, and we'll have a true conversation, and I will hear you out. And I think your conversation tonight was amazing. I think it was great. I think you both said what you think and heard each other out, and I really enjoyed it, and I thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have True Empiricism on my GTV channel. He's gonna be teaching me about chemistry. Actually, he's gonna be teaching me about biology, because it really ain't that many respectful people here online that I can actually find on here that can actually teach me a couple of things about it. But he's one of them, and then there's Nothing Free, who knows a lot about it too. Hopefully, I can find somebody in the atheist community who actually knows something about this stuff and is respectful and knows how to have an adult conversation about this stuff. Because honestly and truthfully, the atheist community is just turning into a community of trolls. We can't even come into a room and disagree with each other like adults. It's ridiculous.
Would you listen to me when it comes to? Do you ever think about randomness and how randomness can create something? Would you listen to me on that topic?
Randomness, like, what do you mean by that?
Well, a lot of people say that randomness cannot create something, as nothing can come from randomness. I hear that a lot.
Okay. You talking? Okay, yeah. No, I don't believe that you can get order from right next to me here. I'll show you. I got a stack of like DVDs here. I don't think if I just throw them in the sky and they're gonna fall like a million times, then I'm gonna get a house from it. You know what I mean? Or anything like that. Anything complex from it.
Have you ever heard of a genetic algorithm?
No, what's that?
A genetic algorithm is basically how we can get order from randomness, how fitness is found via randomness. It's a statistical algorithm that creates order from randomness, and that shows that randomness can create order. It's directed randomness when randomness, it's so hard to say, when randomness is directed at a goal. Now, this is a deeper concept, but it's just an idea that I want to put in your head, that randomness can create order.
That randomness can create order. And the scientific evidence for that is,
I don't know, but sounds like a really good basis for a good discussion.
Yeah, well, the scientific evidence for it is that we can actually create a genetic algorithm that works. Genetic algorithm is not some theoretical thing. It's actually a statistical model. It's not a theoretical thing. There are genetic algorithms. They work. The R squared of them.
Are they alive?
No, they're not alive. They just
they're not living. They're not living or nothing like that. All right.
Okay, well, let me just explain a little deeper. R squared is the percentage of variation explained in the Y variable due to the X variables, and a genetic algorithm is the ability to explain the variation in Y. So genetic algorithms explain the variation. So randomness can explain variation.
Sorry, hold on 1 second. I'm responding to somebody in the chat over here. All right. Yeah, so I'll just respond to Jay. Jay said something to me over here. She says, I'm going to learn the wrong stuff. I'm saying that I'm going to learn from somebody who's actually humble. Because I can't take all this pride. I can't deal with all this pride. I'm just on the internet. So, well, he's humble. Listen to me. I never once heard him say he knows it all. I never once heard him say he knows it all. I never heard him put somebody else down. I've never heard him put somebody down because they didn't know something. So I'd rather learn from
you don't watch his videos
than learn from a bunch of people on here who don't even got biology degrees, who claim they know evolution better than scientists.
Well, no. What I know,
you said that.
You came in when I was introducing myself. If you didn't hear, what I know is statistics. I know statistics. I know genetic algorithms. I know the ideas of data mining. And what we know is that randomness is a tool and randomness can actually describe reality and explain reality and be used to find results. So randomness is a tool. I know that
a tool for what? A computer? Because it's not a tool for the diversity of life. You're not gonna be able to prove evolution with that.
Imagine this. Imagine we have an organism, and the organism has blank traits. You can see my fingers now, right? Can you see my fingers?
I hope I can. You can see mine. I see them right there. Yeah.
So when the organism has new progeny, the organism that is most likely to survive would have genetic trait X, and this is genetic trait X right here, this finger, middle finger, unfortunately. And thus, that genetic trait that is most likely to survive is random, but it is selected. So although these traits are random, like the traits that it has are random, but the selection of the trait is due to fitness. That is the key. Fitness is the reason traits pass on.
The word fitness you're using, is that a scientific term or is that a philosophy term?
Fitness is described as that which is most likely to pass on the genetic material from one.
Is that a scientific term or is that a philosophy term?
It's scientific. Generally, when they talk about fitness,
okay, I'll do you a solid.
Something that can breed, that can successfully reproduce.
I'll do you a solid. I'll actually go look up the definition and go see.
Sure. Well. The issue is that a genetic algorithm actually statistically computes on fitness. Genetic algorithms have a fitness component that we actually use to figure out the genetic algorithm. Like if you look this up, if you type into Google right now, genetic algorithm, you will see the statistical computations to create this, and it's based on biological evolution.
Okay, so I'll look at it. Wait a minute, it's based on biological evolution?
Correct.
So it presupposes evolution is true then?
Well, no, it just understands the idea that randomness can create fitness.
Okay, random what?
So what it does, you should really look this up. Everyone right now should go to their Google and type in genetic algorithm, because what it does is it takes a genome and it randomly computes it to have different parameters, and then it sees which one is most likely to survive. And then it takes that and it mutates it into a new species. And that species mutates and has new genomes. And it keeps mutating and creating new species till it finds the best possible. It keeps on trying to find better and better and better. And it's based on the idea of biological evolution. This is the idea of a genetic algorithm and how it works. The theory behind a genetic algorithm is based on biological evolution.
Okay, so I'll look up the word fitness and I will look at this.
Well, no. Please Google this now.
And just give me a second here. I'm going to look it up and then I'll give you an invite on GTV or on a private hangout or something like that, and we'll talk about it. Maybe on a private hangout instead of GTV. I'll take you to a private hangout after I look it up a little bit.
Hey, Brian, an interesting thought if I can add to, even if you could demonstrate that the way the world works now includes these mechanisms for randomness to lead to fitness, I think the problem is then how do you demonstrate that? How do you demonstrate the common ancestry of man and other apes, or people and carrots and bananas, right? So it's,
you can't.
Well, G-Man is correct. From what I just said, I do not think it follows that there is a common ancestry tonight. But I will say, from what I said, it shows that randomness can create order, and randomness can be shown to find a solution.
Yeah, and I don't mean to say that it's totally off point. I mean, because the thing is, I know that one of the things you hear from creationists or from ID proponents is that there's no way that randomness can produce information or organization or complexity or whatever word they want to insert in there, and they're simply wrong about that. And often we want to say these things that kind of rebut that. But they get into sort of complicated issues, and at the end of the day, they can always just walk it back to to square one and just say, yeah, but that doesn't prove man came from monkeys, right? And that's, I mean, I think the topics you're talking about are interesting, but I don't know that they're convincing or motivating for, you know what I mean? Like,
well, no. So let me address that. It is one step in the issue, because I think what's going on here is that G-Man has a really good answer to our questions. And by what I mean really good answer is, let me G-Man, just say yes or no to this. But does God explain all of the answers to our questions? Does God explain all the answers? Pretty much yes.
No.
Oh, he doesn't?
No.
But I mean, does God explain where human life came from, how human life came to the earth, how we came to be?
Well, yes, but there's a lot of questions I have that I don't know.
But there's a lot of questions that we have. And so when we break them down into components of how could order come from randomness, is that possible? And then we look at a genetic algorithm. Or when we look at the common ancestry question of...
I don't believe you can prove evolution with that argument that you're using.
No, I do not believe
I think what you might be able to do is prove that a computer can take randomness and do something with it. But other than that, I don't think you're going to get anything when it comes to evolution.
I think a decent analogy to use, like in contrast to the whole genetic algorithm, is something like lockpicking, right? Like with a combination, right? Like you can't, like creationists assume like the design like is going to be predicted first. You need a mind. You can't just take random objects and put them in a line and just expect to be like that, right? You need like a design for that, right? But the way it sort of works, you have to go with like one sort of generation at a time. It sort of like adds up those genetic changes. It's the same thing with like the combination of lock. You just have to get gradually over time to ultimately get what you're looking for, like under evolution. That's an analogy for that.
I spawned her into duel and I got a critical.
I mean, in fairness to what Brian too, that part where I asked Brian that question was because I think Brian acknowledges that this bit of puzzle work is not a wild card that's going to like completely prove evolution and common ancestry and human origins and all that other stuff. And he was very, very quick to say, no, that's not what I mean. So I think he's acknowledged that.
Yeah, so there's no proof of macroevolution. Just want to let you know that. So,
okay.
Or abiogenesis. That Miller experiment was debunked. So,
yeah, sure. Anyway, with that said,
how was it debunked? Sorry, I'm just curious. What part of it was the job, right? You meant
it was a failure.
What was it trying to accomplish?
A lot of scientists don't even believe that Miller created the correct conditions of the Earth. Then, as a matter of fact, when I watched my first video on this topic, well, not my first video, but D News actually claimed that that there was water in an oxygenless environment. I thought that was funny when I saw that one. I was like, wait, water is H2O. So how is there no oxygen in the Earth? And get the heck out of here! That Miller experiment was a joke.
Yeah,
Abiogenesis is not science.
I'm just trying to understand here. So, do you think that he was trying? Did you think that his statement was that this was the conditions of Earth?
No, I'm saying that scientists that there are scientists that disagree with the Miller experiment, both secular and on the creationist side. Do not necessarily agree with him. Agree with the experiment that those were the conditions.
Yeah, and I think if you ask, I think if you ask
from research, because it's all
that's fine, and I'm sure if you'd asked Miller-Urey, they would have agreed with him.
So there's still no scientific evidence that life comes from.
Well, here's the point. What do you think the Miller-Urey experiments was trying to prove?
Trying to prove that life can come from non-life.
Okay, so that's not it. All right.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion.
That's your opinion. Oh, no, good Lord, G-Man. Come on.
You could actually.
Are you a biologist? Are you a biologist?
So G-Man, you could actually go and read the paper, and you could look at what it was trying to establish, like what the goal was, what the conclusion of that was. Okay, and trying to create life was not the point of the Miller-Urey experiment.
Yeah, that's your opinion. That's nice.
Wasn't it trying to?
It's also the opinion of the guys that did the experiment.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Life,
yes, it is.
Life cannot come from non-life. It is well established, and you guys treat it like a religion. You need to let that go.
Quick question. Wasn't it trying to produce like organic cells from inorganic material? Like I think that was like the more specific understanding of it, right?
Yes, that was the point. It was the basic building blocks, like the basic like amino acids could form.
And not even polymers, not even like RNA or no polymers. It was literally just the amino acids.
Yeah,
The bar was set pretty low, G-Man. It was pretty low.
Yeah, and it was a success because it did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Oh, so I
Did it
guess
create polymers though?
shit.
They didn't
I guess someone needs to
okay.
like clean.
They didn't even identify the
not their
amino
friends.
acid.
Go ahead, Jade.
Do I get to
gonna
ask
say,
some
they
questions
didn't
here, or
even
you guys
identify
are
the amino
going to
acids.
be coming after me
They're-
with these questions all day? Because at some point, I
I haven't
actually
said
want to-
anything yet, and thank you for interrupting me for the first time I speak. To find amino acids. The whole point of the experiment was to take some very simple compounds. The most complex of them was methane, which is a carbon with 4 ammonia, which is a nitrogen with hydrogens. Okay, so they started with these very simple compounds. And the idea was to try to see if there were some conditions under which very simple compounds could naturally form much more complex compounds. When they got the results, they were actually astonished because, they were looking for something with, maybe 10, 20 carbons in a chain. They got amino acids. It was absolutely astounding that something that complex could come from such very simple compounds, the simple compounds, and very abundant compounds. Now, yes, they had atmosphere of the early Earth incorrect, but they had the best data they had for the time. The point is, though, the point of the whole experiment is that under certain conditions, it is entirely possible for very simple compounds in one step, mind you, not several steps, not building from a single carbon, which is with methane, to, carbons or 8 carbons or 16 carbons. No. We went from one carbon chains and amino acids in one single step. And that's what was so astounding at the time. That's what they were trying to show. The fact that they had the atmosphere incorrect is actually irrelevant. That wasn't the point of the experiment.
Check out GTV, guys. You'll see what my position is. Check out GTV. I got a video on it.
Well,
and you will actually hear them say for themselves that they didn't believe that they had the correct, let them argue with the scientists. By the way, how many scientists are in this room? I'm curious. Because I'm not one. Who in here is a scientist? Nobody, right?
Retired.
Just like I thought. So, all I'm saying,
You're a retired scientist?
I'm not a retired scientist. I admitted that I was not a scientist.
I wasn't talking to you. I thought you weren't talking to me, genius. I was asking Hogtie.
G-Man, what is your qualifications for a scientist?
No,
what is your qualifications for a scientist?
I'm not a scientist. I'm just finding it odd that people that I said earlier that people who are not scientists are telling scientists that they're wrong about what they're talking about.
Yeah,
that's
so
kind of odd. That's all.
I want to ask, what is your qualification for a scientist? Because I am currently working on a PhD.
Okay, when you graduate, I suppose.
Okay, well, I'll come back to you with my conclusion then.
Okay, cool.
Okay, well,
and bring that evidence to abiogenesis, because last time I checked, no one's been able to prove that in the lab. Nobody.
Would you say, G-Man, that no one has disproven abiogenesis? Is that correct?
The fact that you can't prove it in a laboratory is the fact that it's been disproven.
No.
Our technology is too good today. Our technology is way too good today for that to be an excuse.
No. The fact that we haven't proven something isn't proof against something. What I want to ask you, let me ask you 2 questions. You ready?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
I want to ask you 2 questions.
No. Before you said that, you said it's not.
The fact that we haven't proved something is not proof against something.
Okay, so God existed.
Well, yes.
So God existed. Okay, you argument that God existed. Okay, cool.
No, I mean,
G-Man, you know better than that, G-Man. Come on.
Hold on a second, Brian. I just want to clarify that point. Is that G-Man has a good point, and this is one of the arguments that happens between the different people that recognize atheists as different things. Whatever, we're not going to get into that. But the point is that people that think that God does not exist purely by the fact that the theist has not made their claim yet, that could be looked as a kind of a fallacious reasoning, and I agree with that. If somebody was to say that, listen, the God doesn't exist because a theist has not proven that God exists to me, well, that guy's an idiot. that's a poor argument. So it's the same thing. So if you say that abiogenesis doesn't exist because it hasn't been proven yet, that's not an argument. That's not an argument against abiogenesis, just like it's not an argument against God.
So abiogenesis is not science. If it has not been proven in a laboratory, my argument is what I said in the chat.
No, it's not
science. In order for it to be science, you have to actually be able to observe it. No one's observed it. You have to be able to test it over and over and over again. We haven't been able to do that. So abiogenesis is not science.
No, this is
that's the other thing too. Is kind of like the thing is that it is science, is that there is actually a endeavor going out into real researching it. There are experimentations that are ongoing right now. What you could say is that there is no working theory right now for abiogenesis, but
it's not science.
Okay, but there's a difference between something not having a working theory and something not being science.
So there's no proof for it, but you believe it's science. Okay, I understand that. Gotcha.
Let me give you my 2 questions. You ready? You ready for my 2 questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Is abiogenesis falsifiable? Is abiogenesis falsifiable? Do you understand that?
What do you mean by that?
Can abiogenesis be shown to not be true? Can it be shown to be impossible?
Well, first and foremost, it's got to be shown to be true.
No.
Where is the evidence that it's shown to be true?
No, wait.
That's
the question is not, is it true? The question is it falsifiable?
I actually have a site here I'm looking at to look at the evidence for abiogenesis, and I'm sorry, no one here says it's science. The only people that believe it's science are YouTubers. That's it.
My only question is
more proof of
abiogenesis
than it is for this.
Falsifiable.
Man. Answer his question. It's a yes or no question.
Is abiogenesis falsifiable?
Sir, no, I don't believe it's falsifiable, and I don't believe that it's provable because it's not real. Abiogenesis is a religious belief held by YouTube atheists who want to believe that life comes from non-life. And if
let me just clarify.
And by the way, there's no Christian that can actually come to me and tell me that, or a person who's a theist. Actually, no, I can't say theist. That a Christian can't come to me and say, "Oh, I believe that life can come from non-life. The first life form came from something that was non-living."
Okay.
A Christian can't say that.
He had 2 questions. You answered his first. I'm going to mute you so you can ask the question.
Here's my very important response to this. Can I say it? Okay, here's my response. You just said abiogenesis is not falsifiable, which means
and it's not provable.
Well, no. Well, if it's not falsifiable, that means you cannot show it to be false. So you just said you cannot show abiogenesis to be false.
You're right. I can't because you haven't even proven that it's true.
Then
and that's what you don't understand. You haven't even proven that it's true. Listen to me. Okay, let's say
I've proven it's true.
Yeah.
You haven't even proven it's true. Every site that I've been to that's been all art has not been proven science, and you have not proven it scientifically. It's not falsifiable. It's not even real. It's a religious belief, if you ask me.
Brian, G-Man. Okay. At that point, this is kind of going nowhere. So at that point, we've been going for an hour and a half. I'm gonna have to call this to an end.
Well, okay, 1 second, because you know what didn't happen. I apologize. And if you want to call to an end, it's a good time to do it. It's a nice short package, an hour and a half. But what I was going to say, we're sort of at a choice point there, whether we want to sort of take another run at the whole what's meant by falsifiable. But actually, I think G-Man asked about 10 minutes ago that I think he said, well, we just ask him, or if you want to wrap up, that's fine. But I think he said something along the lines of that he had some questions, and everybody was sort of taking turns asking him questions.
Okay.
No. You say that in the show. The whole show went here. Y'all just grilled me.
G-Man, I want to be fair.
No. You just got finished grilling me. Go ahead and end your show. It's too late for that.
No. If you had a question
for that, I want an hour and a half to ask my questions. I want my hour and a half to ask questions. You're not gonna do that.
You wouldn't get an hour and a half. First of all,
of course I won't. Of course I won't.
Be quiet.
This hangout was about me. This hangout was about me because y'all had nothing else to talk about. I understand.
G-Man, be quiet. Because I was going to let you ask your questions. You would get half an hour because there's 6 or 7 other people sitting here, depending on
we got jobs in the morning.
You talk about, and you're one person, so you wouldn't get half an hour to ask your questions. That's more than fair. I'm more than willing to let this go on for 2 hours. I got no issues with that.
By the way, great debate.
When I ask people questions.
I'm sorry, great debate. I have a question.
My name is David.
You're David who? Like, do I know you?
David
Like, are you a
Fulton.
YouTuber? Do you have a YouTube channel?
I
He's
do.
the moderator.
Do
Does
you
that
have a
matter?
YouTube channel?
I am the moderator at this point.
I understand that, but do you have a YouTube channel?
Does
Yes,
that
I
matter?
do.
I would like to check you out. Do you have a YouTube channel? Yes or no?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can I get a link before I leave this
Are
room
you
so I
asking
can
me
check
what
you
the
out?
name of it is? Yes, I'll give it to you.
Yeah,
Boolinator.
give me a link.
BOOLEAN.
No, just give me a link. Give me a link here in the chat here,
Oh, for crying out loud! Hold on.
so I can check you out and see who you are.
Well, he's digging for it, Jimmy. Just to be clear, like I was saying, I thought, got the impression that you had something that you wanted to add or to ask people.
I do, but the show's over.
It would have been fair to
Do you have
extend
questions?
You waited till the show was going to be over to ask me that I have a question, and I've been in here for how long?
Well, I'm
No,
not.
Come on
he
now.
was extending you the courtesy
Yeah,
of asking
courtesy.
if you had any questions.
Yeah, and if
Do you have
I
questions you
understand,
wanna
and I
ask?
understand that. I don't think you understand what I'm saying. So, it's like I said, it's all good. You wait to the end of the show when you're literally about to end the show to ask me, "Do I have questions?" And you don't see
I
nothing wrong with that.
I didn't
Come
know.
on.
I didn't know that he was about to end the show.
mean-
Right, but that's actually why I said, like, why don't we move on to that? Like when you guys were talking about the unfalsifiable thing, and then that's when he said that he was going to end the show. So I said, well, wait a second, like, why don't we offer G-Man that courtesy? Like, it's only an hour and a half. Typically, these things go for about 2 hours. Now's a good time to wrap up, but it would have been courteous to say, hey, G-Man, do you have anything? If G-Man, if the answer is no, then just say no, thank
And
you.
to be fair,
You don't have
It
to
would have
be.
been courteous that would have been done.
this is my first moderation.
Let's just
Hey,
end it
Jim,
already,
Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
Josh.
just calm down. Like, it's the first
I
time
know
the
what
guy's
thing
moderated. I
to
think
do.
he's doing a fine job. Like,
I know a thing or two about moderating, but I also know enough about human nature that if you got like a whole bunch of people jumping one person, that somewhere in that conversation, I would be allowed to ask a couple of questions. It doesn't take
Hey,
a
G-Man,
scientist to figure that one out. You know,
I mean, I'll tell you what. After the hangout, I'll go get you some ice cream. We'll just like blow off all this negative to steam, man. Make you feel real better.
My channel's in the chat, G-Man.
That's nice.
oh, you're bullionator.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Great debate. Are you insinuating I'm acting like a child?
What?
Are you insinuating?
I'm insinuating that.
I actually do
That's
have
not
a
what he said.
question. Whoa. I actually do have a question now. I actually do want to ask a question because if I'm acting like a child, then I got about, I don't know, 7,000 people who are subbed to my channel that act like children when I do one of the following things: block them, delete their comments, take away their freedom of speech. And by the way, when people come to my channel, I actually let them talk. All right.
No, you don't.
So I'm not done.
Why are you doing
I'm not
that?
done. If I'm a child, great debate, then so are you and the entire atheist community.
It wasn't him.
So
Jim.
you know what?
It wasn't him.
Whoever said I was a child, I accept it because you're a child too. Then it's just that simple, and I'll prove it when I go to my channel later, and I'll wait for you to leave a comment and just delete it. Because you know what? That's what children do. And when you complain about not having your freedom of speech, that is what children do.
Can we please take a step back here? Did someone call G-Man a child?
Yep.
In fairness, I heard someone
I
say
don't
something
think
about
so.
going for ice cream and feeling better.
Yeah,
I think
that's
was
all
it.
I heard.
Yeah.
Said,
Well, I think the implication-
afterward, let's go for some ice cream. That's what I thought. Wolf said, let's go, afterwards, how about we go for some ice cream and feel better? I don't interpret that as you like a child, G-Man. I would say that to a friend of mine. Hey, let's go have some ice cream. It's a pretty standard thing to do.
That's not what was said. That's not what was said. What was said was my child is actually in the chat, and then they said, "Do you want to go get some ice cream?" You understand? That's why I don't like about these Google Hangouts. You guys don't listen.
Anybody? Okay, please let me. Does anybody remember someone saying my child is in the chat? If so, I missed it. That's all I want to know.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, don't worry. If you want, when I'm bored on my Mark by God channel, what I'll do, because I'm not gonna put this on my main channel. What I'll do is I'll download this and I'll show you every single time it happened in this room. I have no problem with that. Because I know what's being said here.
If someone said that, if someone said that, I do know that it wasn't David.
It wasn't David.
Acting as our moderator. David did not say anything of the sort.
I don't know who said it, but this is a hangout. I don't know.
Jump on him. All right. So I did not hear that. I don't know who said that. So let's just leave it at that. But at this point, I think G-Man should be able to ask any questions he would like to ask.
Right. So, okay, so I was grilled about what was this about evolution and biogenesis, right? Okay, cool. So I guess I'll start off with, let's say, Hogtie Champ. I'll start with you first, okay? No. It's better yet. I want to start with Sokka. Sokka, can you unmute Sokka?
What's up, man?
Why are you an atheist?
Why am I an atheist?
Why are you an atheist?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So the way that I kind of figured this is that I did a lot of reading on philosophy of mind a couple of years back, and the entire concept of substance dualism and the transcendental mind, or transcendental mind, they're essentially the mind that can exist without the body. I find that highly improbable. The idea that there's any aspect of us as a physical entity that can persist through death, I find that concept quite ludicrous. And because of that, any religion or any dogma or belief that people have that post-death there is some type of extension that goes on with an immaterial aspect of your body for all of eternity, I think that that's something that I can't actually form a belief in, because it just doesn't cohere with everything that I know or understand. So this kind of falls into the grounds of like religious arguments, because when you're faced with the idea, first off, with a God as a transcendent mind, as this immaterial creator that has capability of thoughts, I don't think that such a being could exist by that definition of what a God is. And any religion that purports any type of supernatural aspect of us or some type of immaterial aspect of us that actually transcends our body, I reject that as well. So it's not as much that I'm an atheist towards every single God concept. There's a very specific type of God concept or supernatural concept that I reject. And if that puts me into the category of an atheist, then I guess, yes, I'm an atheist there.
Okay, so my response is you're not an atheist, because gods are not necessarily immaterial. They're material as well, according to pagans, New Agers, Levian Satanists, and other religions out there. Again, why are you an atheist? Because, okay, I understand that you reject supernatural gods. I understand that, okay? Now, why do you reject material gods? I'm just curious.
Okay, so the thing with that is the God concept. What we're talking about with the God, I think, is a very poorly defined God concept out there. There is this idea of when we talk about gods as a seriously proposed God. You'll hear a lot of theists put that term out, or atheists put that term out as well. And when we talk about a seriously proposed God, a lot of times that is a God concept that is related to like the triple O's, the omniscience, omnibenevolent, or omnipotent. So that would be what I would call a seriously proposed God concept. So any type of atheistic belief that I have has to deal particularly with the seriously proposed God concept. If there is a God concept that doesn't fall within that definition, I wouldn't really define that as a God as something that I would be able to form a belief in or disbelief in. There's a lot of different reasons that I might reject the idea of a material god like wood nymphs or something like that, because again, this has to do with how much is implemented to the the transcendental properties of them. Do they have a spirit that somehow extends beyond them? In that case, I would reject it. If we're talking about like trees having spirits or any immaterial or material object having an immaterial property beyond them, then that would fall under the definition of what I wouldn't believe in, but I still wouldn't necessarily call that a god.
Okay, so you don't believe in supernatural gods. I think you use all that jargon that you just got finished using to try to confuse me. But the point of the matter is you don't believe in supernatural gods. You did not give me you didn't give me I wouldn't even say convincing. You didn't even give me a logical reason on why you don't believe in any. And by the way, could you do me a favor and explain it so that the children that are going to be watching this a little bit later can understand this, by the way? Because I'm having a difficult time believing why you don't believe. Well, I'm sorry. Why don't you believe?
Was that just your way of
why you don't believe that the Pharaoh? Well, I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. According to the definition that pharaohs used when they were calling themselves gods, I don't know why you don't believe in them. Why you don't believe in Demeter? Why you don't believe in Levian Satanists who claim that they're their own gods, or New Age gods, or 5%ers who say they are gods, or anything like that?
Your list,
so I would like to hear something other than the God of the Bible on why are you an atheist, because you still haven't given me a logical answer on why you are an atheist. Do you even have a reason why you're an atheist?
So I could have sworn that I clarified this, but let me. I will try to clarify this for the quotation children. Okay. So when we talk about an atheist, okay, when somebody who under my position of a strong atheist, someone who believes that no gods exist. When I say no gods exist, or I believe no gods exist, the definition of God that I am using it's pretty specific, and that's the idea of a transcendental mind that exists, it's external of the material realm, a creator being in that capacity. That would be what I would put out as a seriously proposed God concept. Now, if you ask me why I don't think a pharaoh is considered a god if he calls himself a god, is because he's using God in a different way. If he's using God as a status, as a rank, just above his followers, that doesn't fit under the definition of what I'm calling a god. That's not the kind of God that I'm interested in discussing. That's just somebody who's taken on the rank or position of God. But they're still material, they're still a man. Now, if that person tries to apply some type of transcendental properties to them, that they will exist past death, well, then they fall into my category of what I define as a god, and I would not believe in them for exactly the same reason that I gave before.
Okay, so when you're talking to the general public, and A means to be without, and it means to be without theism, that is a belief in a god, you're cherry picking and saying that you only don't believe in supernatural gods, but all other gods are okay.
No.
I'm not finished. I'm not done. Okay.
That's not what I said, though.
He said that they're using a different definition of God. Well, no, duh. Not every other God out there is out there defining themselves the way the God of the Bible is defining himself. And I keep trying to tell you, I try to teach you guys this over and over and over again. Not every other God out there say that they're omnipresent, all-knowing, all-powerful, and do the things that the God of the Bible does.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to say something.
Max.
The God of Islam is a different God. I'm learning that the Black Hebrew Israelites just believe in a black man with superpowers and whatnot. Wait a minute. Hold on a minute.
G-Man.
So I can't ask
no,
you questions.
you hold on a minute.
Are you going to tell the moderator?
No, I'm gonna
you know what? I'm done. Don't worry about it. I'm done with my questions.
But fine. If you're done with your questions.
Yeah, I am done with my questions, yeah.
You're done with if that was your only question, that's fine. But Sokka answered you.
No, he didn't. You don't
like his answer?
He didn't.
That's fine and dandy.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't. And I'll use this later. Trust me. He did not answer my question. Can
I answer your question?
Are you going to argue with me? No, I don't think so. You're not going to argue with me on this channel.
Oh, Dave? No. Listen to me,
because according to the rules on this channel, I'm God. So get the hell out if you're going to argue with me.
Oh, okay. You're God? Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll bring the hammer down if you don't move on from that question. Go to the next question, please.
I'd like for you to hear something here because I didn't know that. Hold on a minute, because I was told something completely different. Hold on a minute. Because the president
go to the hangout on YouTube
of your movement.
Rule number 4: moderator is God, even if you're an atheist. Which is why Hogtie had to shut the fuck up when I told him.
You're not an atheist then. Okay, cool. No problem. You're not an atheist then.
The problem,
fuck off. You just admitted you're a god.
Just
admitted that you're a god.
No, bye.
The problem was that he asked me.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay. Go ahead.
Wait a minute. Let's calm down. Calm down, everybody. Calm down. G-Man, why don't you? G-Man, why don't you?
Show your true colors, Hitler. Show your true colors. Come on.
G-Man, we're trying to.
Why don't you, G-Man? Why don't you ask another question?
Ask another question or leave.
Okay.
Another question.
My next question is for the moderator of this room who claims he's God. Sir, how can you claim to be an atheist if you're God? Just curious.
I never claimed to be an atheist.
LaVey and Satanists say that they're their own gods as well, and they claim to be atheists too. That's why the Bible.
You're putting words in his mouth. He never said that he was an atheist. You're putting words again. You're putting words in someone's mouth. He never.
Yeah, you are.
The man just said he was God.
Okay. I'm really curious though, because G-Man obviously didn't like my response. Maybe we can go back to that. Okay, G-Man. I'm willing to
look on Google and everything. I understand that. So let's get to it.
Wait,
sorry, do you want me to what? What do you want me to Google?
You had your time to Google it because you asked David to distract me when I was talking to you.
No, I wasn't. I'm asking.
You didn't do it. Yes, you did. You asked him to distract me. I know you did.
So how would I? Okay, how would I?
Coming out of your mouth.
Okay, G-Man. How would I do that? No,
you can text them. You can do a private chat, a private message in the chat. You're gonna tell me you can't do that too, Sokka?
Okay.
Sokka, are you on a mobile device right now?
No, actually, I'm on my computer.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I
So
can
we're treating
screen
you.
share.
The whole time I was looking for it to make for you because on a mobile device, you can't
Here
do
we
that.
go. So we
It's
go
called
here.
paranoia.
So here's the screen share, G-Man. You can see that on the side there, there's no private messages that I've sent to.
Okay, so you could have sent it to a phone, or you could send it through Skype, or you could have did it through.
Yeah, not a problem. Here, so let's keep on going.
We're entertaining paranoia here at this point.
Okay,
Let's just
I like
go
Jade's
on.
idea. I like Jade's idea of let's just dial it back. We're here, you know.
Okay, so I got a
Go
question
to
for
something
David.
else.
I have a question for David. So David, do you believe that you're a dictator?
No, I
G-Man,
don't believe I'm
that
a
is not
dictator.
going on to another question. Let's
Yes, it
put
is.
it to rest and move on.
No, it's I quoted a rule that is set down in the Great Debate Community channel that the moderator is God. It's set down for the purpose of keeping the channel under control.
Who made that rule, by the
And
way?
I see it kind of going into a train wreck at this point.
So
And if you don't
move
dial
on.
it back,
Who made the rule?
it will. I'll end the show.
This is funny. Just if I can just throw this out here, G-Man, you've actually made the point about how there's a thing that says, oh, in the moderator you have to follow the moderator's rules. You've even said that you're breaking the law if you don't follow the moderator's rules in a Google Hangout, which I don't agree with.
No,
but you know what? You understand what he means when he says. And by the way, David has. And I've counted. There are 5 different people in the room. He's told, okay, that's enough of that topic. Move on.
Yeah.
Right. And it includes me. It included Brian. Right.
Yeah.
So you know it.
By the way, Sokka never answered my question though. So the reason why he stopped that Sokka was saying that he don't believe in supernatural gods, but he believes in naturalistic gods. And David knew I was.
G-Man, I will host a hangout.
No, I'm not doing it to your hangout. Based on this Google Hangout, become
covered.
No, because they want to change the subject. They want to change the subject, and you're being disrespectful.
I'm not being disrespectful. I never got to make my point that Sokka actually does believe that God exists. That God happens to be.
Is that straw man?
Yeah. So I mean, G-Man, if I'm really sorry if that's what you got from it. So maybe I can clarify again for you. Okay.
Okay. So let's try this again.
Yeah.
You don't believe in supernatural.
So again, when we talk about God, under the definition that I'm using of atheist, I'm talking about seriously proposed gods. And the problem is,
proposed gods?
Yeah, seriously proposed gods. That's the term that I used. And the reason why we use that I'm using seriously proposed gods, the reason why we it's actually really good. I'm going to do a little plug here real quick. I used to host a show called Deeper Than Dogma. Been kind of off for the last almost 2 years, but we're actually going to be doing another one this Friday on something similar to this topic, which is why do atheists seem to only be rejecting the Christian God? So I'm actually going to have an entire hangout on something close to this topic, which is, and it's going to bring up the differences between local and global atheism, which are two, things you can Google after, as well as why you'll find most apologists online or in this little corner of the internet forming arguments against the Christian God specifically, but it's just not this part of the argument, this part of the internet right here. It actually goes back in a historical sense. When we look at atheistic arguments like the problem of evil, or any type of rebuttals to things like
you're going off topic right now.
Well, no, I'm
trying to talking about like God and you were hijacking. You were hijacking.
Are you going to? Did you have something? Okay, let me know when you're finished, and I'll keep on going.
And you're saying, well, first of all, I like to thank you for saying that there's only one God, and that's the God of the Bible, which shows you that you do agree with Scripture. Now, but just hear me out. Hear me out.
That's not what I said.
You only take serious guys into account.
Because there's other seriously proposed God concepts. Any type of God concept that's put forward that is the idea that there's a God that is a transcendent creator of the universe, and transcendent mind that exists outside of.
Atheism is not the rejection of Christianity. Sorry.
If we're talking about that God concept, that's the God concept that I'm arguing against. Now we could bring in any type of naturalistic God into this as well. And if a naturalistic God, by your definition, is just a person that can adopt a God label, well, then we're talking about two different God concepts here. We're talking about God, the concept of a creator being, and then we're talking God as a title that somebody can have. In the same sense that when we talk of princes, you know, there's different types of princes that we can talk about. We can talk about like the royal prince, or we can talk like the prince of pop. Now, these are two different concepts that are tied to that word. And like God is another one that's like that. You know, Michael Jordan is a god in basketball. Is not the same thing as, you know, asserting that, you know, Michael Jordan is he worshipped? Is he worshipped? Maybe, I don't know.
Is Michael Jordan worshipped? Yes or no?
No, maybe. Who knows?
Does Stephen A. Smith use the word blasphemy when people speak against basketball players?
Okay.
Yes or no?
I don't know.
Basketball players said that people have worshipped at the feet of Michael Jordan and other basketball players. Yes or no? You are not.
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a huge basketball fan. So
hang out on this topic as well, and my Google Hangout will make a heck of a lot more sense, because I'll actually invite people who actually believe this stuff into my room, and they'll actually teach people about this stuff, not somebody who's just coming on here.
Blah 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 blah.
The rejection of Christianity is atheism, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with you. And again, I'm not sure where you got that idea.
You just said you don't believe in the God of the Bible. I understand it. Everybody,
I don't believe in the God.
You have not made an argument.
God of the Bible fits the definition that I have that would prefer God. But then again, there's other God concepts that's not just the Christian God that would also be involved in that.
Okay, prove you're not a God.
I'm not a transcendental mind that exists.
You don't gotta be a transcendental mind. You're sabotaging the definition and making it your own. How do you know that
if you ask me if I'm an atheist, and I
you're not an atheist, you're a misotheist, you're an anti-theist. There's no such thing as an atheist.
Can I finish my point? Okay.
Okay.
You're gonna finish your point.
But if you ask me if I believe in a God, okay, now I have to have a concept in my mind of what a God is, and I'm only going to talk about the seriously proposed gods, because I'm assuming that this is a theological conversation and not to talk about.
No, it's not a theological conversation. I asked you a question. I asked you, why do you reject?
You don't think that the question about the existence of a God is a theological?
You're doing run-on sentences about stuff we're not even talking about right now.
How can you see if I'm doing a run-on sentence? Is there no
what you're doing is that you're changing the topic to talk about other things. I'm talking about naturalistic gods, and you know that's what I'm doing. And
I'm trying to explain to you that naturalistic God. I don't
like you're just
here. I know. I feel bad for you. Okay, I really do. I'm sorry. I know this is one of your go-to arguments, because you like doing this. You like being like, oh, there's these other definitions of God, whatever. And I'm trying to give you a very respectful answer right now to show why.
Doctor, you haven't even read the Bible. I don't feel disrespectful.
Why the great debate community?
You haven't even read the Bible before.
It's not about discussing the godness of Pharaoh, or the godlike abilities of an athlete. That's not what we're talking about, obviously.
That's not what I'm talking about either.
Okay.
I asked you a specific question, and I'm waiting for, out of your 45-minute dialogue that you're making right now, to answer my question. You're not even answering.
So why don't I believe in naturalistic gods? Because by definition, the God that I don't believe in to form the position of atheist is not natural.
This is a theological conversation, you said, right? And the Bible, God himself, wait a minute, hold on a minute. In the Bible,
no, you wait a minute.
God himself
you wait a minute.
Gods. So stop that nonsense, Saka. You don't know what you're talking about, okay? So let's try this again. Why do you reject naturalistic gods?
Because I don't think they're gods. They don't fit my definition. They don't fit my definition of what a god is.
Under what definition?
The definition of God is like the only seriously proposed definition for God in a theological conversation.
I'm going to yield.
Which is a creator being that is a transcendental mind that exists external to physical reality.
Great debate. I'm going to yield, but I want to let the audience know. Well, I want to let you guys know something, and then I'm done. According to him, there's only one definition for God. And he only
that's not what he said. That's not what he said.
I asked you multiple times.
Let him talk.
Can I stop him when he? Can I stop him when he misrepresents the position?
I'm not talking about.
As long as I'll go after him.
Okay. So the bottom line is this: you clearly think that your definition of God is the only definition. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the definition that you gave here today, and I'm going to compare it to every theistic religion out there. We're going to see whether or not those theistic religions define their gods that way. And remember, as an atheist, you reject all of them. Because if you don't reject all of them, by the very definition of atheism, you are not an atheist the moment you accept one. Just one. So it's not a go-to argument. I'm showing you how foolish and how idiotic atheism is at the end of the day when you try to make a broad statement that none of these guys exist without a logical or rational argument, without evidence, and without even being able to define what you're talking about. I have the definition for the New Age God. I have the definition for 5%ers. I have the definitions for all these other people over here and whatnot. You, on the other hand, keep talking about one. And I'm sorry, you can deny that God to your blue in the face, but you don't have to be. No one should respect you as an atheist if you can't even say, okay, I don't believe that LaVey and Satanists are gods because. But you got to go by their claim. You have to reject their claim. If you can't reject their claim, then you're just speaking gibberish right now.
Yeah, I think you do reject their claim. G-Man, can you check the side chat real quick?
So, yeah. So, I mean, so what you saw G-Man do right there is that he wants to use a broad definition of God because he wants to use every single word of God, every single term that we can assign this to, like, you know, this guy's a god at football or this guy is a god at dance. We're obviously not talking about that. We're talking about the theological discussion, which generally rotates around, you know, creator deities, supernatural beings that exist out there. If they're natural gods that are out there, like if you want to say, well, some pagans worship trees, well, they worship them because they have supernatural qualities to them. The idea behind a God that, well, most people accept is, and for most religions, is that even if you present a God that has some material capabilities to them, that they have some type of material essence, they also contain some type of supernatural essence as well. These supernatural abilities is what's give them the godlike status. You know, this is why, you know, we say, you know, Michael Jordan is a god because they believe, well, not literally, but they take a look at his skill and his ability to play basketball, and they assume, you know, or kind of place supernatural abilities on this because it's beyond the pale. It's beyond what we expect from this. Now we use that term colloquially in that sense, but when we're talking about the theological discussion, what we mean by God can only put forward by the seriously proposed definition of God that I'm offering here. No one's debating these other things because they don't actually meet the criteria of what we're talking about when we talk about God. And if we actually wanted to accept these things as God, let's say we wanted to accept all these naturalistic gods out there, then G-Man's a polytheist. He's not a Christian. He has all these other gods that he believes in alongside of his God. So that's fine. I really don't care if he wants to argue over the existence of natural gods. What are we going to be arguing about? Are we going to be arguing about what characteristics define them as a god or whether they exist? Because I believe LaVey and Satanists exist. I believe trees exist. But now we just have to go back to, well, what do we mean by a god?
Saka, real quick, do you reject, just because G-Man specifically asked about this, do you reject the LaVey and Satanist claim that they are gods?
Well, yeah, they don't. Absolutely.
Okay, well then there you go.
They don't fall within the definition of what is a god.
The definition of what a god is.
Yeah, there's sort of a repeated suggestion in the side chat too that we, because this is sort of an off.
Wrap this topic up. That's it. You have any more questions, G-Man?
By the bell. No, I don't got no more questions. Saka doesn't know what he's talking about. Saka actually said that he doesn't have a problem with a naturalistic thing out there saying that saying that something naturalistic can be a god. But as an atheist, you have to reject all of them. And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Atheism.
Yeah, I never said that.
Did you guys turn my volume down?
G-Man, let me ask. So G-Man, you have no more questions for anyone else.
Did you guys turn down my volume?
I can't hear a thing.
It went quiet for me all of a sudden.
Hey, G-Man, you still want ice cream? That's my question.
So I guess G-Man has no more questions for anyone else. So
G-Man types in side
volume down. G-Man, you're up.
You turned my volume down, and I was talking, and I watched it. Said that great debate adjusted my audio.
I was trying to get you so I could hear you again.
No, you turned my volume down, and you tried to make it sound like that I was having audio problems. That's what you did.
No, it's likely
G-Man,
he just simply.
Guys, you know what?
G-Man,
To hang out.
Okay, it's time for a meltdown. It's meltdown. Let him go. Let him go.
Don't have no serious conversation. All you guys want to do is play games. If you guys want to do that, that's fine. But don't sit and talk about you and Tommy Hall and the rest of you guys.
We don't care about the butt, buddy.
Okay, we don't need the meltdown, G-Man.
We don't.
I'm not melting.
You are.
G-Man, have a little charity here, please. It's very easy to accidentally move the slide the wrong way. If he was trying to increase your volume and accidentally decreased it, it was just simply
Okay, just on an administrative point now. So G-Man has now blocked
It's 1
me.
o'clock in the morning. I got time for this.
And I do
Everyone,
believe
you
we
have a
have
good
a
night and a happy
standing
new
rule
year.
about this, that when a
Yes, there
participant
is a rule
blocks
about
someone,
Yeah, go
that.
the hell up.
they go.
He-
All right.
Yeah.
So it got to
On
the,
that note,
so
the rest of you, we've
Yeah,
all
the-
made our points. I'm going to end this now. Everyone say good night. And
night.
that was fun.
Bye.
Sure.
Fun as always.
And I'm going to give the last word to Jade because she has spoken
Oh.
very little tonight.
Yes, well, I know it's kind of unusual for me. It's unfortunate that G-Man does not want to listen to what other people have to say. That's all I can say. The one last thing I'd like to say is that atheism does not mean without theism or against theism, because the word atheism in the English language actually predates the word theism. The word atheism comes from a French word, which comes from a Latin word. Goodbye.
Can I say one thing?